Know the secret of my sister's ill health, what those muggles did, what she became. You know how my poor father sought revenge and paid the price, died in Azkaban. You know how my mother gave up her own life to care for Ariana. I resented it, Harry. I was gifted, I was brilliant, I wanted to escape, I wanted to shine, I wanted glory. Do not misunderstand me. I love them, I love my parents, I love my brother and my sister. But I was selfish, Harry. More selfish than you, who are a remarkably selfless person who could possibly imagine. So that, when my brother died, I was left with the responsibility of a damaged sister and a wayward brother. I returned to my village in anger and bitterness. Trapped and wasted, I thought. And then, of course, he came. Grindelwald. You cannot imagine how his ideas caught me, Harry, inflamed me. Muggles forced into supervines. We wizards triumphant. Grindelwald and I, the glorious leaders of all the revolution. Oh, I had few scruples. I assuaged my conscience with empty words. It would all be for the greater good, and my harm done would be repaired 100-fold in benefits for wizards. Did I know in my heart of hearts what Grindelwald was? I think I did, but closed my eyes. If the plans we were making came to fruition, all my dreams would come true. And at the heart of our schemes the Deathly Hallows. How they fascinated him, how they fascinated both of us. The unbeatable wand, the weapon that would lead us to power. The resurrection stone to him, though I pretended not to know it. It meant an army of inferi. To me, I confess, I meant the return of my parents, and the lifting of all the responsibility from my shoulders. And the cloak. Somehow we never discussed the cloak much, Harry. Both of us could conceal ourselves well enough without the cloak, the true magic of which, of course, is that it can be used to protect and shield ourselves as well as its owner. I thought that if we ever found it, it might be useful in hiding Ariana, but our interest in the cloak was mainly that it completed the trio, for the legend said that the man who united all three objects would then be truly master of death, which we took to mean invincible. Invincible masters of death, Grindelwald and Dumbledore. 2 months of insanity, of cruel dreams and neglect of only the two members of my family left to me. And then, you know what happened. Reality returned in the form of my rough, unlettered, and infinitely more admirable brother. I did not want to hear the truths he shouted at me. I did not want to hear that I could not set forth to seek Hallows with a fragile and unstable sister in tow. The argument became a fight. Grindelwald lost control. That which I had always sensed in him, though I pretended not to, now sprang into a terrible being, and Ariana, after my mother's care and caution, lay dead upon the floor. Oh. Well, Grindelwald fled, as anyone but I could have predicted. He vanished with his plans for seizing power and his schemes for Muggle torture, and his dreams of the Deathly Hallows, dreams in which I had encouraged him and helped him. He ran while I was left to bury my sister and to learn to live with my guilt and my terrible grief, the price of my shame. Years passed. There were rumors about him. They said that he had procured a wand of immense power. I, meanwhile, was offered the post of Minister of Magic, not once, but several times. Naturally I refused, but I had learned that I was not to be trusted with power. But you'd have been much better than Fudge or Scrimgeour. Would I? I am not so sure. I had proven as a very young man that power was my weakness and my temptation. It is a curious thing, Harry, but perhaps those who are best suited to power are those who have never sought it. Those, like you, have leadership thrust upon them, and take the mantle because they must, and find to their own surprise that they wear it well. I was safer at Hogwarts, I think. I was a good teacher. You were the best. You are very kind, Harry. But while I busied myself with the training of young wizards, Grindelwald was raising an army. They say he feared me. And perhaps he did, but less, I think, than I feared him. It was the truth I feared, you see. I never knew which of us in that horrible... Man, okay, start from the beginning. Oh, not death. Not what he could do to me magically. I knew that we were evenly matched. Perhaps I was a shade more skilful. It was the truth I feared, you see. I never knew which of us, in that last horrific fight, had actually cast the curse that killed my sister. You may call me cowardly. You would be right, Harry. I dreaded beyond all things the knowledge that it had been I who brought about her death, not merely through my arrogance and stupidity, but that I had actually struck the blow that suffered out her life. I think he knew it. I think he knew what frightened me. I delayed meeting him until finally it would have been too shameful to resist any longer. People were dying, but he seemed uncontrollable, and I knew what I had to do. I had to do what I could. Well, you know what happened next. I won the duel. I won the wand. Grindelwald tried to stop Voldemort going after the wand. He lied, you know, pretended he had never had it. They say he showed remorse in later years, alone in his cell at Nuremberg. I hope that is true. I would like to think he did feel the horror and shame of what he had done. Perhaps that lie to Voldemort was his attempt to make amends, to prevent Voldemort from taking the Hallow. Or maybe from breaking into your tomb. You tried to use the Resurrection Stone? Yes. When I discovered it, after all those years, buried in an abandoned home of the Gaunts, the Hallow I had craved most of all, though in my youth I had wanted it for very different reasons, I lost my head, Harry. I quite forgot that it was now a Horcrux, and the ring was sure to carry a curse. I picked it up and I put it on, and for a second I imagined that I was about to see Ariana and my parents, and to tell them how very, very sorry I was. I was such a fool, Harry. After all those years I had learned nothing. I was unworthy to unite the Deathly Hallows. I proved it time and time again, and here was final proof. Why? It was natural. You wanted to see them again. What's wrong with that? Maybe a man in a million could unite the Hallows, Harry. I was only fit to possess the meanest of them, the least extraordinary. I was fit to own the Elder Wand, but not to boast of it, not to kill with it. I was permitted to tame it and use to it, because I took it not for gain, but to save others from it. But the cloak I took out of vain and curiosity, and so it could never have worked for me as it works for you, who are its true Nona. The stone I would have used in an attempt to drag back those who are at peace, rather than to enable my self-sacrifice as you did. You are the worthy possessor of the Hallows. Why did you have to make it so difficult? I am afraid I counted on Miss Granger to slow you up, Harry. I was afraid that your hot head might dominate your good heart. I was scared that, if presented outright with the facts about those tempting objects, you might seize the Hallows as I did, at the wrong time for the wrong reasons. If you had laid hands on them, I wanted you to possess them safely. You are the true master of death, because the true master does not seek to run away from death. He accepts that he must die, and understands that there are far, far worse things in the living world than death. And Voldemort never knew about the Hallows. I don't think so, because he did not recognize the Resurrection Stone he turned into a Horcrux. But even if he had known about them, Harry, I doubt he would have been very interested in any except the first. He would not think that he needed the cloak. As for the stone, whom would he want to bring back from the dead? He fears the dead. He does not love. But you expected him to go after the wand. I had been sure that he would try. Ever since your wand beat Voldemort's in the graveyard at Little Hangleton at first, he was afraid that you had conquered him by superior skill. Once he had kidnapped Ollivander, however, he discovered the existence of the twin cores. He thought that explained everything, yet he borrowed a wand did not better against yourself. So Voldemort, instead of asking himself what quality in you that made your wand strong, what gift you possessed that he did not, naturally he sent out to find the wand that would, they say, beat any other. For him, the Elder Wand had become an obsession to rival his obsession with you. He believes that the Elder Wand remorses his last weakness and makes him truly invincible. Poor Severus. I admit that was my intention, but it did not work as I intended, did it? No, that bit didn't work out. I've got to go back, haven't I? And that is up to you. I've got a choice? Oh, yes. We are in King's Cross, you say. I think that if you decided not to go back, you would be able to, let's say, board a train. And where would it take me? On. Voldemort's got the Elder Wand. True, Voldemort has the Elder Wand. But you want me to go back. I think that if you choose to return, there is a chance he may be finished for good. I cannot promise it, but know this, Harry, that you have less to fear from returning here than he does. Do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living, and above all, those who live without love. By returning you may ensure that fewer souls are maimed, fewer families are torn apart. If that seems to you a worthy goal, then we will say goodbye for the present. Tell me one last thing. Is this real, or has it been happening inside my head? Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry. But why on earth should that mean that it is not real?